Hi everyone, welcome back to Healthy with Nicole. And in this video today, I'm going to talk about milk and why I think it was one of the best things that I did to bring back actual milk into my diet. So I feel like for years, people have been afraid of milk. It's full of toxins, it's full of hormones and all this kind of stuff. I used to drink like a metric ton of almond milk. And this was right before I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. I drank almond milk every single day. I made lattes with it. I made smoothies with it. And I also used to make my own milks out of nuts, like cashew milk and all this crazy stuff. In fact, if you go back like many years in my YouTube channel, maybe 10 years ago, you'll probably find some videos because I've left the content up there for the evolution of this video, of this channel. But I think it's important to realize that there are a lot of problems with milk alternatives that I've talked about before. And what is the purpose anyway? Like most people think that they're allergic to milk. And I think it's actually that their digestive systems are so inflamed that they are not actually making enough of the enzyme. So the enzyme for milk, lactase, is actually made in the microvilli of your intestinal lining. So you've got your intestines, a layer of mucus, and a layer of little, I guess you could say, fine hairs called microvilli. And within those microvilli are where the enzymes are made. And so if you have a really inflamed intestinal wall, it stands a good chance that you're gonna have problems with the enzymes. I've seen a lot of people, myself included, that thought that they were lactose intolerant, and they started to work on healing their gut, removing the irritants, reducing the inflammation. Even if they didn't have ulcerative colitis, they still took all these steps and then slowly started to add back in small amounts of milk. And cheese is a separate issue because there's additives there you have to be careful of. But anyway, let me focus on milk for now. And I think people are scared of milk, and there's all this, I think, propaganda to push dairy alternatives, which, by the way, is a very, very profitable industry. And so if we make people scared enough of milk, they're going to buy alternatives. But are they healthier? Well, the additives added into these, let's say, almond milk, oat milk, are very dangerous for your gut. Let's just take, for example, the almond milk that I used to drink. I will not name the brand, but you all know it's probably the #1 brand out there, has been for many years. They had an ingredient called carrageenan in their milk. And this is a thickener, and it kind of emulsifies and thickens and gives a sort of a mouth feel to ice creams, salad dressings, different products, creams, and milk. And not just regular milk, but these artificial milks. And they have to do that to emulate, natural milk. And so what I never knew, and you may not know either, is that carrageenan specifically was used in, and still is used in, rat studies to actually induce colitis for the purpose of testing mice with colitis. So it is used to induce this disease, yet here it is in lots of products, alternative cheeses, which, by the way, even regular cheeses might have it. And the ingredient I'm worried about is the rennet. It's supposed to be animal rennet. Now it's microbial rennet. Anyway, you'll find carrageenan in a lot of different products. And this is why, if you can avoid products and really focus on food, real food, then you'll avoid a lot of these things. But that is one of my biggest issues with people that choose a milk alternative. Why are you doing that in the first place? And you're not going to replace the micronutrients available in milk. Milk is an amazing source of calcium, very absorbable. And just like when we talk about trying to eat vegetables to get a ton of nutrients, they're not that nutrient dense and they're actually kind of difficult to digest. But as with meat, milk, the cow has already done it for you, or the goat, or whatever ruminant animal you choose. You can drink their milk, and all of the grasses that they have been eating, all of the nutrients in those plant foods have been broken down and are now in an absorbable form for you. So the main thing is the calcium. And by the way, the research shows that Milk is actually anti-inflammatory because of the calcium, not inflammatory like most people think it is. And I realize it's scary because we are already all inflamed, and many of us have an inflammatory disease like ulcerative colitis or something else. But milk does not contribute to that. It's going to reduce it. But as long as we don't have all these weird additives to it. Milk in the United States, milk that is pasteurized and fat-free, skim milk, is going to have vitamin A and D added. It might even be added in whole milk, I'm not positive. But usually pasteurized milk is going to have that added. I personally don't think you have to drink just raw milk. In fact, I have seen people with ulcerative colitis and really sensitive tummies do much better with pasteurized milk. I think it's because there's less bacteria to deal with. Bacteria is a hard thing for your stomach to deal with. And maybe that's part of the issue, I don't know. But I actually see people do better on just regular pasteurized low-fat milk. And that's what I've seen the best with. So milk has many benefits, but from the micronutrients to being a clean source of a drink. So I think this is a much better choice than water, because water, plain water, is going to pull minerals from your body, so it doesn't actually hydrate you, where milk has been purified by the cow, and albeit it's possible that the cow ate plants that you're allergic to and could get an allergic reaction to. I've never seen that, but it is possible. Then you would just pick a different milk brand or batch and try again. Milk has all of these benefits from the micronutrients and being a clean source of nutrition. They are not adding hormones to the milk. You can check your manufacturer, and I don't think milk is going to be naturally occurring in any high amounts. I think there's actually been some testing over this and showing actually just a little bit of progesterone, which is good. We need that. So I'm not really concerned with any of those things. And so let's go down to the proof is in the pudding, right? And so most of the people that I have worked with have been able to successfully include dairy into their diets by starting with a really small amount. We're talking like a tablespoon in some cases, and work their way up from there and get all these great benefits, such as reduction in inflammation. They sleep better. They can use it at night to help them sleep. Lactose is a good source of carbohydrates for most people because it's not fibrous, and where fibers are harder to digest, especially for the colitis folks and anybody with inflammatory bowel. So there's still a lot more benefits. I'll put a link below into an article that I think you might be interested in if you're worried about problems with milk. But in my opinion, I think it's a great food. And as long as you're buying a source that agrees with you, they do vary, try them, try a small dose of it, work your way up. And also, by the way, you can get your calcium from cottage cheese. That's another really good source because it usually doesn't have much additives. Well, I should say it does have additives in many brands, but you can find brands like the Good brand that has no other additives, just the animal rennet, I think. But anyway, you can check the label. I've been purchasing that one for a couple years because it's the only one that doesn't have these thickeners like carrageenan in it. But that's also a really good source of your calcium. So the main thing is the minerals from milk, but I think that if you give it a try, you can have a little bit more flexibility in your diet and not need to go to these milk alternatives, which I think are quite dangerous, not really supplying you with nutrition like we would want. So skip the milk alternatives, retrain your body to get adjusted again to milk if you've been off of it. And if you do have a stuffy nose or something after drinking milk, try a different brand and just play with it a little bit. This is kind of one of those areas where experimentation is important, and it does help us to figure out where to go. So comment below about your experience with milk. Could be good, could be bad, but I'd like to hear about it anyway. And if you like that video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one.